Episode 11 of Dr. Slump started where, episode 10 ended, which is Hanol and Jung-woo finally being back together again. And, they're walking, saying how much they love each other, and him guaranteeing that, she's never going to break up with him again. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another review on the Review Garden. So they ended up, spending more time together that night. And, they were talking all night. And he was like, do you want to come up? And she tried to get, some food to go up to him. But her mom woke up. So she pretended like, she needed a midnight snack to study or to read her dissertations. And then she went up and they had a good time. They ate and she ended up sleeping, with like just falling asleep in his bed. So, but he opened the window so that the smell of the food can get out. So when Hanol's mom went up to the rooftop, she saw that his mail was no longer outside, and she saw that the window was open, so she tried to go close it because she didn't want him to catch a cold. So when she went to the window, she saw a woman's foot. She saw a woman's foot next to him. So, and, he saw Hanol's mom look at him, and they just had like this whole awkward thing. And, he was like, no, this is just a misunderstanding. And then Hanol was like pinching him so that he wouldn't reveal that it was her. So like her mom is like so pissed that he already moved on so quickly and is already having another woman in his bed, right? But when he was telling Hanol, like, hey, we need to come clean, she's like, no, not yet. We don't need to do that because she'll be all up in my business knowing that, I spent the night up here. And he's like, what? But it's going to be worse because she thinks I've already moved on. So, because last night she was like, yeah, let's reveal to the family that we're back together. And he was like, well, that's not what you said last night. Now you're changing your words. Da, 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 da. So it's actually pretty funny to see everyone all worked up. Hanol is so weird because she's talking about his fickle words when she's fickle too, because he got... her mom tried to strangle him with his tie and, and like beat him up with her elbow as he was trying to leave to get to work. And she saw it and she didn't do anything. She was like, Piane. And then she went back inside, right? And then when it was his turn to be like, because he had to take a new picture for the office, and the ladies were asking him, hey, do you have a girlfriend? And, he thought about it. And since yesterday, she was like, let's keep it a secret from people at work. He was like, I don't have a girlfriend. And she got mad. And she was like, yeah, I told you to keep it a secret, not say you don't have a girlfriend. And I'm like, girl, how about you come clean to your mom? How about that? Huh? Hanol's mom found out, that it was her in his bed that night, because when she went up to the rooftop, she was looking at his garbage can and she noticed, his water bottle, which was the same water bottle that Hanol walked into the house with. And then she noticed her plate, because when Hanol left, the plate broke, so he had to throw it out. So he threw out the plate, and Hanol's mom saw it. So she put the two things together, and then she was like so happy to see Jungwoo, because she was like, oh, as long as you both are happy, I can understand why she didn't want to tell me, and da 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 da. So she was like, she invited him to her birthday dinner, and it was the way, when Bada saw him at the dinner. Bada was like, why is he here? Don't you remember? He was he's a family enemy. And then the mom's like, yeah, the woman was your sister. And he's like, huh? And then Hannah's like, what? And he's like, I didn't tell her. She figured it out on her own. So everybody made up, and now everybody's happy. Daeyoung's and Hongran's relationship is really cute. They're really helping each other with their kids, because, he has a middle school daughter, and, she's going through that phase where she needs, certain things. So, if she needs a new bra, the types of treats that she prefers, and then with her son, it's like all the insects that he's interested in. Daeyoung has no problem with doing that. And with the daughter, Hongrang can help him with all those situations. So I think their relationship is blossoming very beautifully as well. Hanol and Youngwoo were talking about, his parents and what his parents do, and how they haven't really been supportive to him. And she asked him, like, have you talked to anyone else about this other than me? And he was like, he talked to Minyoung about it. And if you remember, Minyoung is the whole reason Hanol is not working. Well, part of the reason, because he stole her work and claimed it as his own, which was the same thing her boss was doing too, right? But he talked to him about it, and Youngwoo was like, there was a point where he did suspect Min Wong too, because he spiked his drink one night, and they kind of showed you he was already kind of drunk, and then Min Won was putting Amian in his drink, and I'm like, why? Right? And it's like, why are you doing that? Are you just not capable of, getting things your own way? If this man was like a brother to you, why would you try to do that to him? And it's almost like he uses people to get ahead. That's what he does. So it's like, what else does he have, what else is he going to do to them? Because that guy at the end of episode 11, the guy who was supposed to testify but put all the cameras in the room, he came to Minwon and was like, you need to keep your promises. So I mean, I guess maybe I was right in the beginning that he was involved in the whole situation of what happened to Jungwoo. Episode 12 started with, Youngwoo calling Daeyoung and Hanol calling Hongran, and, to ask them to come out and get a drink or whatever. And Daeyoung told Youngwoo that he couldn't because he's at his parents' house, and they made short ribs and he is pretty much full. He can't come out. And then, yeah, Hung Ran told Hannah that she couldn't come out because she was studying or she had a lot of work to do. And then come to find out, when everybody hangs up the phone, Daeyoung and Hong Rang are together eating. I thought that was cute. Like, they're starting their romance right now. Hano's brother and uncle pretty much kidnapped Young Woo and brought him out to go drink, and pretty much telling him to be nice to Hano and take care of her, right? But then after he gets drunk, and they all get drunk, right? And he asked them, he's like, what happens if Hannah yells at him, because she's probably gonna scold him for being drunk. And they go, oh, we're one, right? So they finished getting him to do a bunch of stuff while he was drunk. I mean, they were all drunk, but like, he spent a lot of money, right? So then he wakes up, he's in Hannah's living room, and everybody's eating around him. And, he's trying to defend himself. And the uncle and Bada just threw him under the bus. They're like, we tried to stop him, but he didn't want to. And I'm like, first of all, the only reason he was out was because you guys kidnapped him. So for you to just throw him under the bus like that, it's funny. Hannah has never been on a field trip before, so Youngwoo, pretty much planned a trip for her. And since she was supposed to meet Hong Rang over the weekend, he had her, stop by while they were on their field trip. And when Hong Rang met with Daeyoung, she gave him 3 stickers, SOS stickers, and she has 3 SOS stickers, so that every time they need help, they could use one of those stickers. So while she was going to meet Hannah and Youngwoo, she didn't want to go by herself and be a third wheel, so she used one of her stickers so that, while she's there, Daeyoung can also teach her how to ride a bike. Because she needs to teach her own son how to ride a bike. And Daeyoung felt like it would be better coming from her. So on their trip, Hannah and Youngwoo pretty much reminisce about, the old times. So when they were in high school. Also, since she didn't go on a field trip in high school, he wanted her to experience that. So they went into the store and bought each other, a vintage uniform to put on while they were doing their activities. And then at night was when Hong Rang and Daeyoung came to meet them. And they were talking about, how Hannah and Hong Rang became friends. And then they also asked the 2 guys, like, what happened? What was your falling out about? So apparently Daeyoung and Youngwoo were like best friends. Daeyoung was saying Youngwoo was like a brother to him. And pretty much what happened was, Youngwoo helped him pass the doctor's exam. So he was like, he wouldn't have been a doctor if it wasn't for Youngwoo. So when they were in the doctor's office, their boss came and gave everybody vacation time, a week worth of vacation time, right? So, but he also needed someone to volunteer to go to a different country and help. So Dae Young was the one who volunteered. And after that whole situation, that whole conversation, they were, in the staircase, and there was a plastic bag. And Young Woo was pretty much congratulating Dae Young, and then he like patted him on the back, and Dae Young happened to slip on the plastic bag, and that caused him to like go down the stairs like I don't know, like maybe 15 steps, like down the stairs, and he broke his arm. So with that injury, he wasn't able to go anymore. And so Young Woo went in his place, right? So he resented Young Woo because it was while he was volunteering there that Young Woo became the star doctor that he was. So he resented him. And even when, Young Woo came back, Dae Young wasn't treating him the same way anymore. And then after they were telling the story, he wasn't treating him in the same way. So in that they got in a fight in the doctor's office where they were pulling each other's hair, and they were fighting with the stethoscope, and they were doing a pillow fight as well. So, after they were telling the story, Young Woo was kind of like, he was hurt because he had to cancel all his plans, and he went, in the place of Dae Young because he thought he was doing a good thing for his friend. And Dae Young was like, during that time, he was also going through a divorce, and he filed for divorce because his wife's family, were not treating him properly. So, after he saw that Young Woo got famous because of the trip, he felt some kind of way and was like, he should have been the one to go on the trip. And what if, his in-laws saw him as this big doctor now, right? So they kind of made up, but the ladies that were like hearing this story, they walked away and was like, we can't believe you guys were this childish. Even though they wanted to put it to the side about what Kwang Min did because of, they're happy right now, so they didn't want to do anything about it, right? He doesn't want to follow suits with anyone, because they collected a lot of payments from him. He technically should be getting them back, but he didn't want to do anything, and both of them didn't want to do anything because they're happy. But sometimes you can't, even if you don't want to do anything, if the information comes to you, you just got to follow it. So while she was at her doctor's office, she saw, his picture on his laptop, on his iPad, right? On the doctor's iPad, which caused her to ask for more information. Then, after looking up who the company was that they're after, she realized that the CEO of the company that Min partnered with was there when Young Woo's trial was going on. So she's asking herself, why was he there? Like, what is going on? So, she researched some more. Then her brother got called to the police station, and he realizes, her brother got called to the police station because they were like, the guy following Young Woo, was there on those two accounts. But the third account, he's not saying that it was him there, and the body shape that doesn't match or whatever. So when Hannah came to the precinct to get him, she saw men there around the neighborhood. So she verified that it was him. So she calls him on the phone. Also, you should note that when Dae-young was talking with Young Woo, he was like, there's something fishy. He always thought there was something fishy about him because he always walked around with powder in his hand. He never walked around with actual pills. So he was just letting, Young Woo know about that. And that one time he bumped into him and the powder fell. So that also made Young Woo sure that he tried to poison him. So Hannah calls him so she can try to figure out, how he's involved in it. So he tells her to get in the car so that they could go and talk about it. So she starts asking him a bunch of questions. So I'm guessing this all had to do with the drug, because he became a teacher, a professor, even though he planned on quitting anyway. So this is all about some kind of drug that they're trying to pass, that it's a deadly drug. So while Kwon Min was driving with her, there was a truck heading their way, and the truck managed to get out of the way. Well, Kwon Min managed to get out of the way. But while he was catching his breath, another truck came and hit him. It hit his side, right? And I mean, at this point, these white trucks in these in these K-dramas, they need to be paid for, because they're actors right now, because a bunch of K-dramas have these white trucks hitting someone, and it always who's going to make it? Because it's always funny to me that some people get hit and they don't make it, and then some people get hit and they walk away scot-free, and then some people get hit and they go into a coma. So even though they get hit the same way, you just never know what's going to happen. So now we have Kwon Min and Hannah unconscious at the end of episode 12. Now we know, well, hopefully, that she might make it, but is he going to make it? That's the question. And this wraps up our journey on the Review Garden. Thank you for joining me today as we explored this drama. If you enjoyed this reaction and review, please remember to subscribe for more insightful videos. Don't forget to like this video and share your thoughts in the comments below. Your feedback helps our channel grow. As always, I'm truly grateful for your support and for joining me on this journey on the Review Garden. Until next time, and happy listening. Bye.